Welcome to this edition of Nowhere Video News. I'm Todd Hilton. As the Nowhere Video 30th anniversary celebration continues, I am excited to announce the release of a first-generation Nowhere Video production. First-generation productions were made between 1987 and 1992. Now, these first-generation productions were not made with a public audience in mind. In fact, they were made for myself, my family, my friends, people who were actually on camera in the productions. 1993 was the first year of public production, starting with Livewire on Columbia Community Television. But there were several other productions that came way before that. Back in the 1980s, if you wanted to shoot video, your options were limited. You couldn't just whip out your smartphone and start recording. You either had to get, say, a vintage movie camera that shot on film, or you had to be one of the fortunate families that had the hundreds of dollars, if not over $1,000, to buy a real camcorder. Most families did not own one. Or in my case, you had to be a lucky kid whose parents bought them one of these. The PXL 2000 by Fisher-Price. Yes, Fisher-Price, the toy company. These were a very unique camera back in the day. They cost about $100. And not only are they unique because they recorded on audio cassettes, high-grade audio cassettes, but it was the first and only camera marketed specifically towards kids. Now, I'll be honest with you, out of everything my parents ever got me, this by far was my absolute favorite. I used the living crap out of this camera. I absolutely loved it. And I used to shoot everything with this little camera. So if your parents had about $100 to spend, on top of the cost of the 6,000 AA batteries that this thing digested on a daily basis, you could get yourself one of these cameras. Now, some people would mock this camera. They would say it was a terrible product, never should have been made. But you know what? To a 14-year-old boy, this was a gold mine. I never let the limitations of the camera dictate what I could do with it. I was always trying new things. In fact, I'm a firm believer in the idea that limitation inspires creativity. My imagination was constantly going. There was always something rattling around up here. So beginning in 1989, I started shooting what would become known as Vaudeo ventures. Not to be confused with video ventures. Yes, I'm still working on it. No, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'll let you know. So what the hell is Vaudeo? Well, I'll be honest with you. It's a completely made-up word. It's a word that I use to describe recordings made by this. Now, when using this camera, you only got about 10 minutes worth of recording on one tape. So because of that, I started dumping my recordings onto a VHS tape. Now, because of this, Vaudeo Ventures is literally hours and hours long. So what I've done is I have compiled all these old recordings and I've shortened them into roughly 30-minute episodes. Because the video shot by this camera is relatively primitive, watching video on the PXL 2000 is kind of like playing the Atari 2600. You kind of have to use your imagination. Vaudeo Ventures is a unique production. In fact, it's more like a collection. Back in the day, I used to shoot everything on camera. Everything from home movie type stuff to sketch comedy to things that would inspire future Nowhere Video productions. In fact, if you dive into this, and I hope you do, you will see the very beginnings, the very roots of bigger Nowhere Video productions. You'll see me exploring the woods with Mr. Dan Bradley, which later would inspire road trips. You'll see me and my cousin Jeff out in the same woods that we would eventually do Jeff and Todd's Righteous Quest in. You will see the very beginning blueprints of skits that would eventually be translated into Livewire. All these things started with Vaudeo Ventures. In fact, there are several full-length productions that were taken from Vaudeo Ventures. I have not included them in this production because they were later released to the public. Back in 1995, I produced a Nowhere Video promo that played on Columbia Community Television. What I didn't realize until recently is that in this promo, I included clips from productions that have never been shown to the public. This was Video Ventures 2, Vaudeo Ventures, and Vaudeo Ventures 2. But I looked at this and I thought, what was I thinking? Why am I promoting something that no one has ever seen? So that's kind of what inspired me to bring these old recordings out and actually share them online for the first time, showing them to the public. So by breaking down Vaudeo Ventures into little bite-sized chunks, makes it a lot easier to digest in 30-minute segments versus 6 hours. Also, something else to keep in mind, Vaudeo Ventures is completely uncensored. So as you know, kids will be kids. So you will see and hear things that are not usually said or heard around parents. So keep that in mind when watching this. So with that, please check out Vaudeo Ventures exclusively on Nowhere Video Network. Also, check us out on our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. This is Nowhere Video Productions. I want to thank you for watching.